Hello and welcome to Market Insights. I am Lavina Emma. As you know, Nigeria has been grappling with a significant rise in food prices in recent times, and this is affecting the overall economy, but it's also having a profound impact on the lives of ordinary Nigerians, particularly at the household level. It's something we all should be concerned about. When we go to the markets, traders tell us, oh, this price has increased. From what we paid last week, it's like it has tripled, and it's increasing every day. And we begin to wonder if households, if families, especially low-income families, can afford to eat the regular 3 square meals every day, can afford to have all the nutrients to enable children to grow properly. Now, let's look deeper into the market dynamics that are fueling this surge. Now, several factors are at play here, including the disruptions to agricultural production. That's one, and this happens in a lot of conflict-prone areas. For example, in northern Nigeria, we've been having issues with bandits, with Boko Haram, and this is also affecting farmers. Another very important issue is the rising transportation cost. As you know, because of the price of fuel, subsidy has been removed. Most traders are complaining about the cost of transportation when they're getting their goods from the north to the south. This is a very big issue that is affecting the prices of food items every day, and a global shortage of certain food commodities such as wheat. Because of the war in Ukraine, the price of wheat is increasing, and as you know, Ukraine was one of the largest suppliers of wheat to Nigeria, and this war with Russia is also affecting the supply of wheat to Nigeria right now. Now, this perfect storm is pushing up prices and putting a strain on household budgets, and the consequences are quite concerning. Many families have to cut back on essential food items, reducing the quality and quantity of meals that they can eat. Now, this has led to malnutrition, especially among children, and that's quite a serious health challenge. Now, my guest this morning is joining us virtually, and his name is Amannakwe Chinonye. He is the general manager of Zenith Shipping, and he's joined us virtually live from London. So welcome to Market Insights, Chinonye Amannakwe.
I don't know if you can hear me properly. If you can, just
hear you properly. Yes, I can.
Yes, okay. My name is being pronounced Amannakwe, but it's fine. You've tried your best.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I'm taking notes of that.
Thank you, Lavina. It's okay. Thank you, Lavina.
Okay, so we are talking about the rising cost of food prices, how it's affecting the cost of living, and especially with the right amount of food that families should consume. I mean, the most people should consume 3 square meals every day. That's your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And with the high cost of food prices, it looks like that might not be possible, especially with the right amount of nutrients that children should consume to enable them to grow strong and healthy. Now, looking at these figures, first of all, before we talk about the inflation figures from the National Bureau of Statistics, now let's first of all talk about this inflation right now. It's affecting food items. As you know, for example, tomatoes right now is very expensive in the market. The price has increased. My colleague was at the market, but we'll talk about that part later. But things like tomatoes, vegetables, fruits, these prices of these items, these perishable goods are always increasing every day. Now, what can you say about how low-income families can address this situation right now?
Okay. Presently, you know, we're in a very critical time in Nigerian economy. The country is really going through a very strong pain. And looking at the minimum wage and the rate at which business is flowing in Nigeria, it's a time which every one of us needs to put our heads together to find a solution to it. You see, every family is feeling the pain, no matter what category you find yourself. We are all feeling the pains of what we are passing through now. Based on the challenge on the inflation, affecting each family. It's what we need to go down to how we cost and spend. Our spendability needs to be looked into. We need to review it as a family. You need to know how on what to spend on. What is not necessary, you put it aside. It's a time which we as a family, we have to look into. You pick what you spend on. You don't just lavish. If not, you will still be the ones to regret, because the income is not flowing as it should be. The statistics are all there. The figures are all there. Nigeria is in the highest time of its inflection. As at this month, May, I think the inflation now is about getting to about 34%, which is very, very, we have never experienced such in our time like this. So it's something that we needs to look inward. Every family needs to look inward. What you know you can do without spending, you do within your environment. Thank you.
For that, yes. As you mentioned, inflation right now is, according to NBS, is at 33.95%, which is quite high, as you mentioned, and it's something that everybody is deeply concerned about now. Okay, during the introduction, I mentioned that there are several factors that have caused this increase in the prices of food, and I mentioned the increase in price of transportation. I also mentioned the highest risk areas where there are conflicts right now. That's in northern Nigeria, and if we have to get food items from the north and bring them to the south, and farmers there cannot access their farms, that will also, the few who can get this food items from their farms and ship them down to the southern parts of the country will definitely increase the price, because it's not easy going to the farms during this periods of the conflicts now. So now, how are these disruptions in food production impacting the availability and affordability of certain food items, especially food items that we get from the north and we have to bring them to the south to sell? Like if you're getting food items like, let me say things like yam from Benue State, and you have to bring it to Lagos to sell, and you can't easily get these items because of the conflicts going on there between herdsmen and farmers, and it's not easy to get to your farm. So how are the disruptions in this food production impacting the availability and affordability of certain food items?
Okay. Definitely, once there is scarcity, the prices increases. In Nigerian markets, there is always a demand. There is always a demand when it comes to food. Food is one of the business that when you get involved in, and you have all facilities in place, you cannot run at loss. As long as the business is as long as the food is concerned, since we are having the insecurities and the exchange rates that gets to do with the dollars and other foreign currencies, then also the foods which we import that gets to do with custom duties and taxes, all this affects the common man in the price, because whatsoever they incur in the process of transportation, importation, and in the process of transporting the goods to the market, that's, as a businessman, we impute into their pricing. So this generally will increase the price of the goods. So what makes this a very important issue is, once these factors are not considered properly, it's always going to be upon the common man. The common man will be the one to pay for this. That's the reason why at this point in time, it has really affected the purchasing power of a common man. So the price of goods and services has drastically increased and definitely they are little which one could afford as an ordinary Nigeria. So
Okay, so most people have to cut back on what they spend. That's one of the solutions to this. Could you also shed more light on how they can solve this issue, solutions to it?
okay, the ways we can solve these issues is if we are talking about individually, we need to go into our own space. We should drastically reduce waste. We should drastically reduce waste, and within your own space, what you don't need, you don't spend on. So we only spend on what we need and not what we want, especially at this time. Then again, you need to budget. You need to budget on what you want to spend on, because it's a time where you just don't spend on emergencies. It's a time that you need to go back to your own space and ensure that you spend on strictly on your budgets. You don't spend on anything surprising. So it's a time which you need to make sure that you follow your budget as strictly as possible.
Okay, yes, we definitely need to work with our budget during this period. Yes, I understand you now. Okay, now still on how this will affect businesses, business owners, especially small and medium business owners. Now, what specific challenges does high inflation pose for businesses in Nigeria during this period?
Okay, of course there is decrease in purchasing power, and once there is decrease in purchasing power, a common business does low in sales, and once there is low in sales, every other thing slows down. It also affects in the increment of your staff salary. It also affects in the increment of what expansion that gets to do with your business. It also affects in the costs of running your business, because most business in Nigeria run on electricity, and most times your electricity is always recurrent expenses. You understand? So no matter what you are doing, you must actually pay for a particular amount of bill. So if you are not able to afford some of this bill, or you can afford it, but it is expensive, definitely you have to find your way around. You cut down on other bills, and this is what affects the business of Nigeria these days. So it's something that we are not really finding it funny. My I run on I run on diesel. I know how much diesel I spend every month, and also for that of the electricity bill based on the new tariff, it is really neck cutting. But nevertheless, we are just trying to make sure that we put ourselves through. So this has drastically cost a very slow in businesses.
Okay. Okay, now I know, yes, it's in partnership with government. We need to work together as a team to be able to achieve the best result that will benefit everybody now. So what role can businesses play in advocating for policies to address inflation?
Basically, we cannot remove the government, then start talking about businesses. You understand? You see, the government, Nigerian government is a government that it's uniquely governed, and we appreciate for the president we are having today, Mr. President, and we pray that God is going to give him the wisdom to put us through this difficult time. The policies which the government is putting through is affecting some of the business. It's what can tell the business if the business will go or will the business will keep shutting down. Businesses helping inflation in our country is is paramount. Is beyond we can't cut away businesses out of our operation, because if we encourage small businesses to grow, there will be more sales, there will be more finance, there will be a greater purchasing power. And once there is a greater purchasing power, the inflation will drop. But due to the fact that the purchasing power is very, very low, definitely there will be difficulty which will be felt by the common man. So the role the business have in helping us this season is to every individual, or you that know you have the capacity to open a business, we should do that. We should do that. We should not depend on the salary per se, which is good because it's not everybody that will have a business. So we should all find a way to get involved in opening businesses and selling something that will really help us to improve the economy.
Okay, so you are suggesting an increase in more small businesses, and this will help that government creates policies that will enable small business to grow. It could also help to reduce the inflation right now. That's it?
Yes, yes, that's what I'm suggesting.
Okay, but some people have argued that government policies have also contributed to inflation. So, what would you recommend as a solution to this? Like, if you were in government, for example, what would you recommend?
Okay, let me put a little light on what you've said, the causes, because the problem we are facing now, it's not a rocket science. What has caused the inflation we are having today is high import duties from goods which are imported into Nigeria, the insecurity that comes from some parts of this country, the exchange rate, which we don't really is just dwindling every day. We can't have a fixed rate. You can't have a figure to work with. Our infrastructures, that are simple for to help us. Infrastructures can be good roads, connections to water, electricities, and all that, and the government policies concerning probably the policies guiding loans, the policy guiding interest, and also lastly, which is the confidence, lack of confidence we are having on the government's governance. So you see all this, if all this can be addressed, you will see there will be more confidence in this government, and that will really help to improve the economy, because if insecurity is being handled, definitely there will be more food coming from the north. If exportation if importation is affordable, if the duty is not being skyrocketed just like it has been done, the duty has been changed ever since this administration. It has been changed. It has been increased almost 100% and almost 5 times, because that is my field of cover. That's what I managed. I'm still managing. So if all these are being taken care of, definitely you will see the inflation will drastically drop. It will drop.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Chinyonye Amannakwe, it's been a pleasure having you on Market Insight this morning. Thank you for sharing your insights on how inflation is affecting the cost of living in Nigeria right now. And I do hope you can join us again on Market Insights.
Yeah, definitely, Lovina. Thank you.